Hello, Gareth here. So in today's lesson, we're going to paint this scene, and there's lots of wonderful things to do in this picture. So we're going to paint like a glowing sun. We're going to paint a fir tree, which hopefully will not be as hard as you might think it is. And we're going to make this lovely grass effect. That is a little bit difficult, but just maybe realize it will take some time to get good at this technique, but hopefully you'll enjoy the technique, and with time you will get better. And then finally we're going to be scraping out the highlights on the rocks. So for that you'll need a palette knife. If you haven't got a palette knife, then use a plastic card or your fingernail. But if your fingernails are short, then it will be quite difficult. I've listed the other materials in the description box. So let's begin. Let's draw the top of the hill line, and then here we'll have a tree, and then here some rocks. 1, 2, 3. Very rough. And then here a figure, and he's got a backpack. And then some long grass, maybe here, and a little bit here, and that's it. So let's do the sky first. So I'm using a big mop, yellow ochre. So my sun is here. And now I'm going to get some maybe cerulean blue. Begin in the corner. Quite thick, and then slowly enter into this area and make these lovely lines. So it becomes fainter and fainter, the colour. Then get a tissue, and you don't have to do this next thing, but I want to make a few white clouds, and I like to experiment, so this is a bit of an experiment. It might not work, but it's quite good fun. like that, like that. And just wipe the sides, because if paint gathers here, then you might get a cauliflower. Okay, let's leave that to dry. Now I'm going to wet this area here for a distant mountain or hill. Now I need to count in my head up to 1 minute. So like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. While I'm doing that, I will make my mix for here. I will use my big bamboo brush, well, medium size. So I'll use maybe cerulean blue, a touch of alizarin crimson, and a touch of yellow ochre. More cerulean blue. That's looking good. Okay, so maybe I'm about 40 seconds in. I got some splatter. So let's try now. Maybe it's still a bit too early. So at the bottom, I'd like a bit of a misty effect. So I've washed the brush, dabbed on the rag, and now I can take out paint at the bottom and create a misty effect. So let's leave that to dry. This has now dried, So let's do the grass here. So for this, I'm going to use maybe my mop brush, big mop brush again. And then maybe I'll use yellow. My yellow is a bit hard. Some yellow ochre and cerulean blue. Let's see what happens. More yellow. Okay. Then I'm going to make a dark colour, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, and yellow ochre. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's okay. Then dab on the rag to lessen the intensity of the colour, and then I'm going to do some shadow areas. Then I'm going to make a dark colour again, so phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, dab on the rag. So roughly I've got a rock here, so this needs to be darker than the dark paint underneath. I've got another rock here and another rock here. Let's keep it simple. That one got too big, but there we go. Okay. So wash that out. Get my bamboo brush. This is a bit tricky now, but it's fun. Wet it, dab it on the rag, then above this shadowy area, we're doing this. Now timing is important, so if it took you a long time to mix your paints, then this might have dried by now, and so you're not going to get an effect. So if it takes you a long time to mix paints, then use your spray bottle to keep it moist. And remember, don't paint directly at the surface of the paper, but horizontally. And that way you don't shift the paint. And then I'm doing some lines coming down like this. So here it's looking really good. So maybe I was a bit slow as well in getting to this stage, but there you go. Yeah, I quite like that. And then I'm ready to do scraping here, but I still think it's too wet. So I need to wait maybe just a little bit. Oh, what I can do is wet this, dry it, and then under this rock, like a few grass hairs, I can even do this. Let's get some yellow, mix it with this green. I don't know if this will work, but we'll try it. It's always good to experiment. I mean, that looks quite nice, but yeah, this maybe looks even better. Let's do that. I quite like that. And get some more. This yellow paint is very hard. And then here, like that. Okay, and I think we're ready for scraping. So first of all, I use the flat and I just slide it along to create some texture. So we're not getting an amazing effect here, but we're getting something. Okay, then use the edge and like this. And let's do here. So if you can, do a variety of strokes. So have thick and thin. So this one here is quite thick, this one's quite thin. The variety helps a lot. And at first it might feel very strange using a palette knife and doing this, but with practice it will become more and more like familiar. And let's use a dark colour, so blue, red, yellow ochre, and just strengthen the dark areas here. So one of the things that will be difficult for you at first is getting these rock shapes looking right. It's just something that comes with practice and familiarity. So don't give yourself too hard a time if your rocks don't look that good. It just takes time. Okay, that's quite nice. So let's leave that to dry. And actually, I think here it has dried, so I can go ahead with my tree. So with my tree, phthalo blue, a little bit of alizarin crimson, just a little, and then a lot of yellow ochre, because it's going to be a green colour. Okay, touch more red. Okay, so I start at the top. It's a bit too thick, but there we go. And then you've got these bits coming out like this. So it comes out like that, and then you've got little bits coming up, and then little bits coming down like that. Let's do another one. Comes out a little bit more than the one above. And it's kind of thick at the end. So we've got one branch coming down like that, and another one coming down there. A few little dots just to kind of make it look like it's actually rooted in the grass and not floating. Okay, and here we go. So I might be making this look easy, but I practice so much at painting fir trees, so it took me so long, it's unbelievable. So please don't get discouraged if you're struggling with trying to get the shape. Okay, that's quite nice. That looks a bit strange there. Okay, let's do that. And then I'm going to mix up some yellow. I wish my yellow was softer. And some cerulean blue. And then I'm going to drop this in here on the sun side of the tree. And then just blend that in a bit. And then leave that, well, wipe my brush. Then just blend this in because there's quite a lot of moisture. So I want to get rid of this moisture and blend it in. Yeah, it's quite nice. And we've got a shadow, right? So I'll use cerulean blue and a touch of alizarin crimson. More cerulean blue. Yeah, it's a purplish mix. Sun is here, so shadow is about there. Try and keep it very simple. Not easy. We all like to fiddle. Me too. I love fiddling. And then mix some of this green with this, and I might have a tree here in the distance. Like that. Yeah, that's quite nice. And we can now do this figure. One thing I don't like though is this. I might colour that in, do a coloured wash over the top. So let's do this figure. To begin with, I'm just going to use a dark colour, so blue, red and yellow ochre. And here we go. So this arm and hand, bit too moist, my paint. Then backpack. Thicker mix, less water. Okay, so dry brush. Because the legs are moving, it's best to have a dry brush effect. I've got a fly on my paper. That's quite nice. And then a stick coming down here. So Make sure all the hairs come together on your brush for this. You can use a liner brush. That's probably a better idea. There we go. And another one. Maybe they're too similar in direction, but I'll give it a pass. Good enough. And then shadow. So Cerulean blue and Alizarin crimson. Sorry about what sounds like tutting. It's just I've got a dry mouth. And here's the sun. So it's basically just age. Yeah. I'm getting old. Wonderful. Not really. Okay, like that. That's quite an interesting shadow. I'm quite happy with that one, actually. Okay. So let's just leave this to dry. It's a lovely little painting, this one. Okay, I really hope you had a go, and if you did, please leave a comment and let me know how you found it. So also please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and leave a comment. That'd be nice. And also I do lessons, so if you're interested in that, then please look for the link in the description box. And I'll be back again soon with another lesson. That's all for now. Goodbye and all the best.